Parents of a 3-month-old baby born without arms in the northern region say they are under pressure from family and community members to kill their child because she's physically challenged. Children born with deformities in the community where they reside, Kabongle, are considered bad luck and evil spirits. But parents of the baby named Mauko, loosely translated as only God, are determined not to conform to the age-old belief and practice. Maxwell Agbagba traveled there and has the rest of the story.
I am on a motorbike heading to Kabongle, a community about 3.5 hours drive from Tamale. Persons who work in the child protection space have alerted me to an age-old belief where physically challenged babies are seen as evil spirits. Here, I meet residents who tell me some children who are victims of the practice leave the hospital very healthy but die later under very mysterious circumstances. The Northern Region Police has no record of these alleged killings, but residents say it is usually done on the blind side of law enforcement officers and people who will possibly raise an alarm. Lydia Kabanda is in her 60s and has lived in Kabongle for decades. She has agreed to explain the phenomenon to me.
A blind child can be left at the dam site. The baby will cry till they die. For some of them, they are taken into the bush to be killed by herbalists. Such children can stall your progress. When we inquire from the gods, they attribute the problems to the child. The child is sometimes put in a sack and hit with a stick till the child dies. If you give birth to such a child, nobody will come to your house to eat. Your family members will neglect you. It is an old practice from our elders. It is barbaric.
I'm now at the residence of the 3-month-old baby born without arms in Kabongle. She cries as her mother tries to lull her to sleep. Father of the baby, Ananias Kweku Viagbedo, says he's under pressure to do away with his baby because she's physically challenged.
My
friends and loved ones do not want to get closer to me now. I have also decided not to allow outsiders get access to the baby, so they will not attribute any misfortune in the community to my child. I have had misunderstandings and quarrels with my in-laws. My in-law says my child will die if she enters her house, because that's the belief that such children should not enter her house. It is believed that such children are responsible for any misfortune. That was my belief too, but I changed when I became a Christian. Such children are humans. If I harm her, I will have to answer to God. That is the belief and practice here. When my child was born, the midwives advised me not to harm him. They told me children are delivered at the hospital, but anytime they check up on them later, they are told they are dead. They killed them, many of them. We hear it all the time.
He says he will not bow to the custom and beliefs of his community.
I am determined to protect my daughter and see her grow. I will not follow the custom here. However, my only fear now is the kind of training that I have to give her, so she will be able to realize her full potential.
Mother of the baby, Mary Nyong, says there's pressure on her to get rid of baby Mauko.
I almost say me, I could frame say, I could make it
They want to kill my child because they say she's not human. I know she's human and she'll be great in future.
The children who are born disabled, at times we do away with them because we see they're not fit.
I've now met Solomon Atta. He's secretary to the chief of Kabonwule. He says it is the belief of the community that physically challenged children are evil spirits. He cites an instance where a physically challenged 1-week-old baby was killed.
The children who are born disabled, at times we do away with them because we see they're not fit into the society. When we leave them like that, their fellow friends will be making mockery about them. Even in school self, I don't think we allow them to go to school. We believe that they have evil spirits, or maybe it is sort of witchcraft. The witches are hunting them. When the person is born a witch, so such a person, we don't want him in the society. I think some years, one happened. A small child was born about a week. The child started eating. So the parents have to do away with the child.
Wait, because the child started
eating food. 1 week.
It's not good?
It's not good. It's not good.
Why?
It is not practice. In fact, it is inhuman. It's a child. When the child started eating there, I don't think it is normal. It's not normal.
What was the child eating?
Fufu. They left over. When the mother woke up in the night, the mother saw the child eating. They have to do away with the child.
So the child was killed?
The child was killed. It doesn't happen always.
Okay.
It doesn't happen. I think it is 3 years, 4 years time before we hear that someone is born deformed.
Okay. And then what happens?
We have to do away with that child.
Okay. Do you think it's a good practice or it's a bad practice?
To do away with the child?
Yeah.
To me, it's a bad practice.
Okay.
It's a bad practice.
Solomon Atta agreed to take me to the chief priest of Kabonwule, an old man whose name loosely translates as death is better than trouble. He confirms the assertion by the secretary to the chief, as he says physically challenged children are not fit to live amongst humans.
It is all part of our belief. They are all from God, but not all of them are from Him. Some of the children do not look like humans. When there are deformities in the leg and other parts of their body, we discard them.
Okay. Now I what say? You say nipa ye ni omo ntena.
Okay.
Because you na obobia nim intimi usmanu. We do
not live with them because they do not look like humans. The practice is not good.
Okay, so the hospital, where's Godfred Golden Vovrego is the Mandai district pastor of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. He's one of the people pushing for change in the community.
Honestly speaking, it has been a big problem in the community because when a child is born and such a child is deformed in any form, such a child is from the spirit world and is not fit to live. Sorry to use that word because that is the practice. And the parents of such a child is a kind of ostracized or stigmatized. No association with such the parents because of the child. And we have been hearing a lot about how they treat such children, but the best place to get the facts will be at the hospitals. Yeah. The belief is that the child presence in the family is a misfortune to the family. And anything misfortune that happens is attributed to such children. So because of that, they don't normally allow such children to survive. How they do it, we will not be able to know. The belief is that normally they hand them over to a spiritualist to go and then do whatever they will do. That is what I have also heard. But the most painful thing is the innocent child and the family, the parents, the way they have been stigmatized in the community. In fact, my brother has gone through a serious, let me say, stigmatization.
Yes, I live almost.
Isifu John Joseph is the Pandai District Director of Social Welfare. He says the situation has come to his attention and his office is doing everything possible to ensure the parents and the 3-month-old baby are safe.
For me, it's unfortunate because they have no knowledge about the person with disability. With this current situation, in the first place, they don't accept the child as a human being. You understand that?
Yeah.
So for me, I recommend that maybe we get a foster parent or some NGOs who can take care of this and also can train the child to be somebody in future. It's unfortunate. I know whoever do that, the law should take its course because we can't do this. You see, we can't do this. So they need serious advocacy. Yes, to help them take off this mind. Yeah, should stop that practice over there. That's what I'm talking of. Okay. And the perpetrators should be brought to book.
As pressure to get rid of 3-month-old Mau.
Maxwell Agbagba with that report. We've been joined on the line by a gender and child rights activist, Diana Adiko, to share her thoughts on how we can end this problem. Thank you so much for your time this morning. And I remember that this story was really highlighted sometime in 2013, 2014. And as a nation, there was a conversation about how we treat children with deformities and how to end this barbaric act of killing them. In 2021, we still have the practice ongoing. At the time you were at the gender ministry a couple of years ago, can you just remind us, if you can, what was done to deal with the problem?
As I explained, I would just like to thank... Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I would want to thank you for having me, and I want to also explain that I used to work with the ministry as a consultant, but I no more do, so I will not be speaking on behalf of the ministry. I can probably only share some of the things happened at the time that I used to work there. You mentioned a case that came up about, in quote, spirit children, and beyond that, these things happen, I think, more often than it's captured in the media or by institutions, etc., where very few cases come to the limelight. So on an individual case, I think there were some interventions. But broadly, it's the issue of increased awareness. You would admit that the treatment that is being meted out to this child and family is purely based on the fact that we do not, communities do not understand issues around disability and all of that. And it's a reflection of how we as a people see and treat disability. It's just a manifestation of that. So in the past, I know a number of policies, because again, you would recognize that the ministry largely is a policy institution, provides strategic directions to the country to respond and guide the work of governmental and non-governmental institutions around the rights of children. So I know somewhere along the line, there was, in 2015, there was the development of a child and family welfare policy, for example, that kind of advocated or enhanced the relationship between the community and the child. And that felt very clearly that the child is a responsibility of the entire community, and how our community is also responds to protecting and promoting the welfare of the child. Having said that, I still think as the reflection of this story clearly suggests that we still aren't there yet. You would see again that not only is this child being identified as a spirit child, but our community as an entirety is very quick to call children witches, to call children spirits. If you move it away from this community and look in our churches, you see on TV a number of church activities being aired, and repeatedly little children are identified and called out as witches and responsible for destruction and havoc in their families. And often you even see the children themselves being called out, and they themselves confirming that indeed they are witches, they've done this, they've done that, without any recognition to any form of disability, being it mental health issues or physical disability or development disability they may have. We are quick to draw conclusions that children are witches or they are possessed by spirits. So we are at that stage where awareness needs to increase on disability, and our conscience needs to be open to the fact that not everybody will be like us. But immediately we see people who do not look like us. We think they are from the spirit world, they are possessed by spirits, or they are witches, and etc. And the stigma and the mistreatment follows and all of that. So it's just a reflection of what's happening down there that many a times does not come to the limelight.
Sure. In the story we just heard, we had the linguist to the chief and the chief priest in the area stating emphatically that they do not believe that these children are even humans to start with. Yes. Can you share with us any practical things that can be done? You've spoken about awareness, but the ideology is entrenched. The belief is so entrenched that I'm wondering what practical ways we can get people to begin to look at children like the one on our screen with yeah.
One of the practical ways is a shift in mindset. Once upon a time, multiple births, twins, triplets, and beyond one were also seen as spirit children, and they were killed in Ghana and in other parts of Africa. If we as a people have learned to accept twins and multiple children as normal, we will get to accept children with disabilities as normal as well, so long as we are engaged and made to understand this. These are purely mindset, and these are reactions we give when we cannot explain what has happened. We do not understand the basis of what has happened. We quickly resort to spirit world because that is one place where it's easy for you to draw any conclusions and leave it there without understanding it. So we may think about all the laws and all the policy, but these are things that have to do with families. So now, even when you formulate the law for communities and countries, and you do not disseminate or give information on the laws, they most often are ineffective. So how do you get to tell people that it is fundamentally wrong to kill a child because you think they do not look like you? It is wrong to kill a human being. But they are coming from even a place that's saying that we do not identify this person as a human being because they don't look like the everyday people we see. So if you do not start from that level of increasing awareness and engaging on people's faith and saying that you may believe in this, but this is where the line is drawn between the rights of people and then the belief of the people, and that some of these beliefs change over time. If we will let go of some beliefs, our children with a different skin color, albino children, for example, in the past, they used to be killed as well, sacrificed, they called it. And today, increasingly, we are getting to that point where we are accepting children with different skin and hair color amongst us. We will begin to, through the same level of awareness and engagement, begin to accept children who have issues, especially physical disabilities or ways that we think do not resemble what we are used to. So we can have all the laws and everything, but if we do not engage, and fortunately, because these practices are reducing and it is getting clearer the communities in which they are rampant, it's easy to move there, not only with awareness, but also with health care and support.
What about prosecution and arrest? Do you think that will set an example?
I mean, every problem can be approached in a multiple ways. It's multi-phased, it's multi-pronged. So you can arrest, you can prosecute, but also, for example, let's take an example for example, FGM, female genital mutilation. It was outlawed by our country, and they were prosecuting people for it. So what these people do, they move to neighboring countries to get it done so that they were outside the jurisdiction of Ghana because it was outlawed in Ghana. One part of it will be cured by the law, but another part will be cancerous. It will not go away. The mindset, the understanding, and the appreciation of people as to why this is wrong or right would remain with us for a long time. And I don't think our legal system, our justice system, our prison system is ready to jail an entire community, community after community because of their belief system. I think we'll be more productive if we engage with these communities. It's easy to identify communities that continue to do these things. One of the risks with our development is that if it's not happening in the big cities, then it's not happening. If it's not in Accra and all the other regional capitals, it's not an issue that is rampant there. We do not have the energy and resources to go into it. Even when it comes to civil society and charity work, many of us are not ready to go into these communities and work. But obviously, this story once more again reminds us of the existence of these things. And then tie this practice closely with the practice of witchcraft accusations and see how we are working within the spiritual realm. Traditional witchcraft accusations versus the church witchcraft accusations are all building into a certain story. That means that we need to drop everything we are doing and pay attention to communities where a certain belief system we have assumed we've moved on, but we aren't there yet, and all hands on deck. But you cannot continue to create awareness and not provide medical support, for example. I heard the social welfare officer got involved, but how much more support can the social welfare as an institution of government and the community development officers, how much support, resources do they have to support this family child to get the right support they need?
I really appreciate your time, ma'am. That's all time will permit us. That was Dinah Adiko. She's a gender and child rights activist, eloquently sharing her thoughts with us on this rather unfortunate